Hi guys. A few of you have started submitting some of your pen work, and I don't know that everyone understands what we're trying to achieve, and so I'm gonna try to have this video be as like an additional technique sort of thing. We're working to shade with the pen so that it gives us smooth, gradual transition like this, and this happens through layering. So this is a new technique for you, and probably something you may have never tried to do before. So I'm gonna give you some just some tips and some pointers on making this happen, and then just some problems to watch for. So I have a scrap of paper, or I kind of have, like, this is just a sketchbook, so I can have a spot over here where I kind of clean off the corner of the pen. A tissue works well for that. And the thing that I'm thinking about as I do this is not so much so that I'm making marks with the pen. So this is me making marks with the pen. And then me like making cross hatches with the pen, right? I don't necessarily want this effect of the hard I'm writing with the pen mark. So you can see that like the effect of here is very different than this kind of crosshatch effect. So step number one in learning how to work with a pen this way is to kind of hold it back a little further, and to like kind of get the pen writing, and then making it make this kind of soft. So that's a little like shading mark instead of this hard I'm writing with the pen kind of a mark. And you do, so do you see the kind of the difference between that? You do have to kind of work with the pen too and figure out like at what point, what direction works for you. I find that this 45-degree angle kind of thing is what works. I put a pen in the kit for you. If you didn't go pick up the pen and you are working with a pen at home and you're discovering that your pen isn't, all ballpoint pens will do this, but if you're having a hard time getting this light, like value out of the pen, like this pencil-y effect out of the pen, look for a different pen. Find a different pen, okay? So here's a different pen, and I am going to see if this pen is easier for me to get that really light, kind of pencil-y sort of mark out of it. So you can see that instead of making like hard crosshatch marks, what I'm doing instead is very softly shading with the pen. Okay? So it's a really different process than making cross hatches with the pen. It's me getting this ballpoint pen to actually shade as if it's a pencil. And so that's a little bit what I feel like I'm doing. I'm really softly working with this pen. And you can see that as I continue to go over with the pen, my value starts to get darker and darker in that area. Making it feel smoother, it involves me turning the page, because I've already decided that this is the way my hand most easily makes this mark with the pen. And so it's easier for me to turn the paper and keep shading. And then when you know that you have an area that you need darker, you can press a little harder. So I'm not pressing very hard when I do this. Actually, more It's a glancing blow to the paper with my pen. It's not like writing with a pen. It's not like me going to write my name or write a sentence or write any kind of words. It's a different feeling. The pen makes a different noise. And it definitely feels like shading with the pen instead of making marks with the pen. The other thing that I want to make sure that you're thinking about doing is, as we're shading shapes, that we need a gradual transition from like dark to light. So if I think about making a sphere happen, it is not enough for me to do something like this. I have not shaded and made that sphere look three-dimensional. And I also have not achieved this technique that we're working for. This is fixable, right? So instead of me making the marks right now, I am coming back over the top of this with this kind of softer pen shade effect or pencil shading effect with the pen. And like I said, this is a new, I bet a lot of you have never forced a ballpoint pen to do this before. It's actually a really interesting phenomenon that ballpoint pen will do this. And you can see that just like with a pencil, I am going to be able to fix or soften this earlier rough area. And you can see, even with just this little bit of time on it, how much more 3D this starts to look if I have more values that kind of push through instead of just one, and also this less like liney effect. So, like I said, if you by chance did not go pick up the kit, you're going to need to experiment a bit with which pen you have at home that will more easily do this. Gel pens are terrible at this. They will not work. A flare or felt tip kind of markery style pen will not work. We want to make sure that we're just using a regular old school ballpoint pen. It can just be a generic cheapie that came from someplace. It doesn't even necessarily have to be black. It could be blue. The effect will be the same. So you can see that I'm imagining using all of these values on my sphere here. And like I said, this was the guy that was originally cross-hatched and wasn't going to cut the mustard. But I've just continued to work with it here. And I am, for the most part, using my pen very much so the way that I would use a pencil to get that smooth shading effect. So I don't want you guys to like do this quickly and decide it's good enough and turn it in. Think more instead of that this is practice and that you are mastering this new philosophy of ballpoint penniness. And then keep working until you master the technique.